Hello, alchemists. What new chapter is calling you? We're going to take a look at those doorways, but if you already picked your cards, check the timestamps below. Doorway number 1, we have Destiny and Telescope. Doorway number 2, we have Renewal and Pathway. Doorway number 3, we have Guidance and Tree. Choose your doorway, alchemist, and let's begin the great work. Hello, alchemists, and welcome to your initiation through doorway number 1. You chose destiny for what new chapter is calling you. Follow the path that aligns with your true purpose and aspirations. It unfolds your unique journey. And telescope, vision, perspective, aspirations, and setting your sights on the stars. Wow, I'm getting a lot of like wish fulfillment, dream come true, some kind of destined. You know, destiny is interesting because I do not want to play it off like destiny is set or that there's some external forces. I mean, you know, in Greek, you have the idea of Ananke and Logos, right? So Ananke is fate, basically. I'm really, you know, simplifying it because of my own understanding, but basically Ananke is fate and Logos is like your inner guiding force that allows you to move through life, not at the whims of fate, right? And so when I say destiny, I'm not saying something that has to be done, that you are stuck in, that is going to control you. It is like decisions, right? Decisions that you're going to make. And so looking at this telescope, I see like seeing ahead, right? So there's probably something in your life that's not feeling really aligned. And maybe when you're looking ahead, you get a little cloudy. And this is an invitation for you to trust yourself, trust your process, kind of getting in line with your true purpose and your aspirations, and making sure that what you think is your true purpose and aspiration is actually coming from you. So let's go ahead and take a look at your shadow card here with this Dixit card. But I think that maybe you've had big dreams before and you've made them smaller, maybe for another person, maybe for a situation, maybe because you felt like it would be a lot for you to get to from where you are to this place. But remember, destiny isn't always like something you expect. Your true purpose isn't always something you expect, right? And so even though you're looking at, even though you're listening to tarot readings and stuff, right? So even though all that's the case, you're still going to have a lot of surprises. And I think a lot of times opening yourself to the absurdity of life, opening yourself up to what's coming while still moving and being an active participant in your destiny, right? So let's take a look at your shadow. You need to play more. Playing more will lead you to this path, this new chapter in your life. And you know, that comes up a lot, the idea that playing, right? And so I've seen this card interpreted in so many ways. This is a game. I think that the feeling here is that sometimes life, Alan Watts says life is far too important to take seriously or something like that. And we do all the time. We buy into these systems that really have no power unless, you know, lots of people buy into them. And you can, like I said, some of this might be, oh, you're feeling foggy about your specific future, but you can see the big picture, not just for yourself, but you see actually, you're more likely to be able to see the big picture for other people than for yourself sometimes. But, you know, understanding the machinations of the system and that it's all just some kind of weird game that people agreed on is also in your shadow, because discovering that is difficult. Being able to see that clearly is difficult in a world that does not want you to see it, in a world where you can even be actively chastised for seeing it. Reach for the moon, go for it. Oh my goodness, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, if there is something you feel like that you're being really drawn to, look at this. This is such vision, perspective, aspirations, true purpose. Go for it. It's like, oh, here's a sign for you, and another one, and another one. Dragon, beware self-delusion, and shark, take care or there will be a loss of material wealth. Okay, that's giving you kind of a, not a warning exactly, but it's like a caution. Don't jump, start slow. Like, for example, if you're going to start a YouTube channel or something, like, don't quit your day job. Like, just do it as a hobby at first and then let it do its thing, right? So, use this as a sign to move towards that, to move towards you and listening to your intuition. Don't jump in the deep end, right? Ease your way into it. So I'm really glad it gave us that caveat, since it was kind of like, go for the moon. Wait a minute, let me just make sure don't like blow up your life or anything. All right, let's take a look at your tarot cards. We have 10 of Pentacles. Wow, there's like so much auspicious energy here. 2 of Wands, looking ahead. 3 of Wands, also looking ahead. It's like, be looking ahead. Your next chapter is like really, really exciting. Look at that with the Lovers. Yeah, you actually have options. You have choices. 5 of Pentacles. The biggest issue that I'm seeing here is financial. So just be watching your finances closely with this 5 of Pentacles and these cautionary cards. Now you do have the 10 of Pentacles here, which is kind of happiness in the material realm, and you have these passionate cards like looking ahead into your future. And obviously the Lovers can be about lovers, but it can also, obviously, it's about choices that you make. It's about falling in love with yourself, falling in love with life, understanding that true love outwardly is a reflection of the love that you feel inwardly, right? Okay, so what I see for your new chapter is that some dream that you have had, or that it might have even been one that you've given up or felt too big for you, you're going to want to start like doing small steps towards that, and stuff's going to open up for you. And the funny thing about these things that happen is this: a lot of times you think that the original dream is the one that you're going after, so don't hold tight to it. That's another warning over here. Don't hold tight to that specific dream necessarily. You may follow that dream and then meet someone along the way, or experience something, or find something. Like maybe you love, I don't know, building Legos or something, and so you want to do a channel on building Legos or something. But then on the way there, you find some other craft you like to build, boats instead, or so. I don't know. I'm, whatever your hobbies are, whatever your interests are. There's so many more than, it's many under the sun. Everyone's got their little niche, and it's really, really nice. But, it might be that you start in one place and you end in another. That's Ananki. That's destiny. That's being able to see ahead and have vision and aspirations, but also understanding that you've got to go with the flow as this happens, right? All right. I'm going to pull advice from my own Cosmic Jester deck today. And it's a little snarky. And I do a full reading with this Sacred Mischief Trickster energy on Thursdays at 11 using Wax Divination in this deck. So let's see. You have mistaken familiarity for destiny again. Wow. Wow. We're going to pull a second one. All right. So maybe the alternate message of this is also like, don't attribute to destiny maybe things that you've outgrown. And that's what I said at the very beginning, to make sure that the dreams that you are following are actually your dreams, right? And not just the familiarity of maybe a dream someone else told you, or a dream you had as a kid that it's different, because like sometimes you have a dream as a kid and it's the one you want your whole life. And sometimes you have a dream as a kid and you didn't realize you saw it in a movie, or some adult pressured you, and so you thought that that was your dream, right? Not every thought deserves a recurring role. With that, I think it's like there's going to be a tendency to want to overthink this entire thing, right? You've probably been really, really, you're probably in a transitional state in your life, and the future seems murky, and you're like, oh, I want to do the right thing. What is my destiny? And the idea is that, oh, look at that. That's fun. The idea is that you're going to create your destiny, right? Yeah, you'll get nudges along, depending on what you believe. I believe that you get nudges along from the other side and all that, but you don't have to believe that, whatever, frost your cookies. But, it looks like there's going to be some big changes. I feel like this next chapter is about you. It feels like a lot of your past chapters have been outward facing, maybe just trying to keep it together, keeping other people together. You're not going to mistake that familiarity for destiny again. No recurring roles, right? You're breaking out of that role. You're breaking out of the game. Okay? So your next chapter is going to be really, really but remember, before a new chapter is a lot of growing pains. So please, please be gentle on yourself, as I always say, and get the help that you need if and when you need it. All right, thank you for being here, Alchemists, and I will see you next time. Hi, Alchemists, and welcome to your initiation through doorway number 2. What new chapter is calling you right now? You chose renewal. Embrace renewal as a chance to start fresh. It rejuvenates your spirit and outlook. And you got pathway, clarity, guidance, and alignment with your true purpose. Some of you may be moving soon. It might be a surprise move. It might be a planned move. With these flames, that definitely could be a surprise. It's funny, in doorway 1, we got a lot of the true purpose idea. So if you feel connected to that doorway, I would check it out too. Embrace renewal. So this chapter, it's almost like a burning away of your old life and a stepping into a completely new life. I feel like your life will be unrecognizable to you in a year or two, right? You might have even been in a situation where you felt like stagnant, like the same things have been happening year after year. But, your true purpose, your next chapter is about your true purpose. So probably in your life, there's been a lot of times where you had to put what you needed, what you wanted to the side so that other people could be comfortable. Even if really it was not, it's really hard to admit this sometimes, right? Is that we maybe sacrificed a bunch for people and it didn't really make a difference. Sometimes we make sacrifices for people like children or vulnerable people, and it definitely is worth it, right? But sometimes we sacrifice for people who really didn't even need your sacrifice. They just took. And so I'm kind of getting that energy with this burning background sort of thing. I'm getting kind of a difficult transition to this new pathway where you will have clarity and be more in touch with your true purpose. And, true purpose doesn't have to be some grandiose thing like suddenly I'm, a doctor, or I'm, on the spiritual path and I meditate 37 hours a day or whatever, right? The pathway, your true purpose can be anything. It can be a hobby that you turn into a life passion. It can be helping other people. It can just be finding peace in yourself, in your daily routine that's repetitive and redundant. That's fine. But I feel like you've been, especially with the feathers on here, right? You've been feeling really more like ragged lately. More ragged, more worn down. Your shadow card. Oh, yeah, look at that. Puppet on a string. I really am getting that feeling. It's like that you felt like there's been a stagnation for a long time and you're ready to open a new door, go down a new pathway. You feel like an automaton, right? Like that you've been just repeating the same pattern. The moon's moment synchronicity. All right, look out for synchronicities to reinforce. And also it feels like time is playing a role in this. Like maybe, like I said, if there's a move or something, it might be something that was unexpected. Or it might be that you feel like you've had to burn bridges in order to get out of a certain situation. So as I always say, please seek safety. Please seek external help if you need proper authorities, therapy, like whatever it is you need to do to keep yourself safe. Because sometimes these situations can get a little scary, right? You said with that fire going there. So please, please, please take care of yourself if you're in that kind of situation. Not everyone's going to be in that kind of situation. I might be talking to a very specific person. Get the help you need if you even in the least bit feel worried. And with that, I'm also getting that some of you might have felt like in a situation that you're leaving that you were being controlled, right? So please be careful. Caterpillar, things will not always be this way. A change is coming. Look at this. There's a huge change. The next chapter of your life is you're in a transformation. Now you're cocoon goop. You're going from caterpillar to butterfly, but right now you're in that middle part, cocoon goop. The cocoon goop, you know, the caterpillar doesn't grow wings. The caterpillar dissolves completely. That's why butterflies are used as that transformation metaphor, right? Look at that renewal. Renewal. Cobweb, protected from negative forces beyond your control. You know, with cobwebs, I also get the feeling of like being tangled up in string, right? Being tangled up in string. Your next chapter is going to be, you know, the transition states between chapters in your life are always going to be really challenging. But you are up for the task with this Magician card. Ace of Pentacles, get that. You know, aces are always about potential, so you have to seize the opportunities when you can. But make sure you're doing it safe. The Magician saying make sure you're balancing every element of a situation. Nine of Pentacles just kind of, look at that. This is like fierce independence card. We have this singular figure, almost like the same color too. So we have this idea of transforming from this still stagnant puppet figure to, boy, I'm facing the great unknown alone after things have kind of crashed and burned, but at least I'm me again. At least I'm not entangled. At least there's a transformation coming. You hold the magic. You hold the potential there, right? Because the Magician next to an ace is about potential coming into fruition, right? The unmanifest coming into manifest. And the Nine of Pentacles is always like, it's really just independence, like not being stuck under someone else's thumb or under a certain system's thumb. You know, like this could be jobs, this could be really, whatever it is, relationships, but being really independent. Oh, Queen of Cups. Emotional regulation will definitely help in this journey a lot. And playfulness. Using playfulness as a sort of sword against the difficulties that you will face during this transition, right? That Five of Pentacles. You have Ace of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles. So a lot of earth energy. So I feel like there's a lot of like real world, like this is very rooted in this reality. This doesn't feel as much like a huge spiritual, this feels like a physical world transformation for you. Then something big is changing in the physical world for you during this transition time, your next chapter. All right, we're going to use my Cosmic Jester deck. Now, I use this deck. This will be for our advice card today. You know, sometimes I do affirmations, sometimes I do those little Memento Mori cards, but today I'm going to use my own Cosmic Jester deck. I use this on Thursdays for my new Wax Divination series. It's got kind of like Sacred Mischief, Trickster energy, Heyoka kind of energy. Sacred Clown. Ugh, clown's creepy. So I was like, I don't want to call it the Cosmic Clown. I want to call it the Cosmic Jester. Sounds better. All right, so let's take a look at your advice. Nobody should make you feel smaller. You aren't Alice and they aren't a mushroom. Need I say more? You deserve to be your vibrant. You know what's interesting, because Alice eats the mushroom or like drinks the potion or whatever and grows smaller. But like you should never be made to feel small. Like even when Alice was small, she was like still so vibrant and alive, and you are still so, even if someone made you feel smaller, you are still just this vibrant person. And this tiredness underneath does not mean that that is gone. It just shrank, but and it didn't even really shrink, it just kind of got covered up. When you were never fed love off of a spoon, you learned to lick it off knives. Now, this is one of the quotes. I need to put little stars on the ones that are not my own. This is like a meme or a quote or something I read somewhere a long time ago, and I couldn't get it on my head. So don't blame yourself for ending up in a situation that you might need to transition out of, right? Because if this kind of goes along with that saying that says, like, if home wasn't a safe place, be wary of situations that feel like home, or something like that. So if you were never fed love off of a spoon, you learned to lick it off knives. And, that just means like I know for me, I know when I was younger, I wouldn't have recognized love even if it was right in front of my eyes, because what felt like love to me was nervous system activation. And so I ended up in, toxic relationships because of that nervous system activation. Oh, look at that. The first one kind of matched too. Okay, so whatever is happening with you, get the help you need, because this seems pretty intense. This seems like a very intense transformation for you. Please, please, please comment below if you feel like you want some support. I mean, obviously we're limited on the channel to what kind of support we can give, but we can definitely be your cheer squad. All right, I'll see you next time. Keep up the great work, Alchemist. Hello, Alchemist. What new chapter is calling you? Welcome to your initiation through doorway number 3. You chose guidance. Seek guidance from mentors and trusted advisors. It provides wisdom and perspective. And tree, strength, resilience, grounding, and connection with the earth. So the first impression I'm actually getting 2 parallel messages here. One is seeking guidance and help, becoming rooted, right? And like, and this might be, we'll explore more with our shadow card and our other cards, but so seeking, it might be that, like, you get a mentor, a spiritual mentor, or a life mentor, or a job mentor, or something like that. It might be that the second strain that I'm seeing is that you are ready to become the mentor. You have become rooted. You are ready to help guide some other people, whether, like I said, it's a work, whether it's your spiritual path, whatever you feel like is calling to you, right? But these transitions, a lot of times we're called to a mentor or to seek guidance. You don't go and seek guidance just because. It's because something has happened. It's because something has shaken up in your life, right? So your next chapter is, it's going to take a direction that you maybe didn't expect your life to take. Like, you might end up finding yourself, as a mentee for some path that you didn't expect, or an apprentice or something. Or it might be that you become the mentor or the teacher or the one guiding others. And like I said, a lot of it's like, make sure you're staying rooted. Make sure you're staying rooted, grounded, right? And if you are seeking a mentor, it is extra, extra, extra important that you are rooted and grounded, because there are a lot of, especially if it's in the spiritual circles or whatever, there are so many people who use spirituality as a way to manipulate or take advantage of people. Like, like, for example, a lot of tarot channels will try to get you hooked on readings, right? Oh, your ex is going to come back. Oh, they're your twin flame. And I don't want to be that person or anything, but it's so important that I feel like that I think tarot readers have a responsibility to make sure that no one is guru-ifying them, right? And that's why, like, I focus on shadow work. I'm not here to be praised or be a guru or anything, because that's not what is going to help you, right? So if you feel like you're going to seek out a mentor, be very, very cautious. Make sure you're rooted in yourself. And sometimes it's like gnosis, and gnosis is just like direct learning. So a lot of times it's you are your mentor, right? Because a true mentor true, true divination, that kind of thing, right? It's about empowering you to become your own guru. It's about empowering you to become so in touch with your own intuition that you don't need to inquire with anyone anymore. You know, I know it's counterproductive to a YouTube channel or something, but like, this is shadow work, so it keeps going, right? You never really finish shadow work. But if you outgrew my channel, I would be super duper happy for you. I mean, I'm not outgrowing it anytime soon because all these lessons are for me too. But seriously, let's take a look at your shadow card. Look at that. The golden apple. You know, and the golden apple, I got the sound of the unicorn. So yeah, if you are looking for an external mentor, do not just pick the first random person that sounds like they got a lot of big words. You're seeking a very specific, you know, unicorn. It's going to be really rare. And I really think that, like I said, you might be doing a lot of self-guidance. This is your shadow card. So it's like you might get fascinated or you might get pulled in to someone else's ideas before. And what happens, what a lot of people do, if they want to have a kind of guru feel to them or feel like they're super extra mystical instead of grounding their practice in life because maybe they have an ulterior motive, is oftentimes they'll just get you wrapped up in your own importance really fast, right? Now, you are important and you're great, but be like, oh, I've never seen a student as you know, amazing. You know, it's what you want to hear. It's what everyone wants to hear, right? And you'll feel like, oh, this person really sees me finally. And you don't want to get caught in that energy. So your next chapter is about like making sure that your discernment is sharp so that if you're seeking guidance from the outside, you're picking the right people. And if not, if it's from inside, that you don't get distracted by shiny things, that you're still doing your shadow work and things. New moon beginnings. Yeah, this is a new beginning. And like I said, I get the feeling that this is a path that you didn't expect. Broken bridge, unsuccessful outcome to a problem. Club, someone will try to make you do something against your will. Be very, the only thing I'm getting with this is don't burn your bridges, okay? Because this new path is going to feel really intense, okay? Don't burn your bridges, and do not question. Do not just hand over information about yourself. Do not just hand over your trust to someone who claims to be a spiritual guide or something, right? Who's not taking responsibility for what they're doing, and who doesn't, anyone who's proclaiming that they have the right answer all the time, right? That's dangerous for you, and it's saying, watch out for that. And I said that earlier, right? And it's coming out again, so make sure that you're paying close attention to that. But this is exciting. I'm getting a feeling that, like, it might be that you are introduced to someone and you think, oh, these ideas are really great at first, but then you start seeing like cracks and holes in it, in the ideas, and then after that, you know, as long as you're able to keep your cool, keep your head together through it, because these people can be very, very tempting. I mean, like I said, people can get really hooked on divination loops, right? And that, like I said, that's why I focus on shadow work, because shadow work is the unending work within. It's not telling you what's going to happen as much as saying, how is your inner world transforming? How can we expose your shadow more to yourself so that you can do the deep healing, right? Okay, so with your cards here, we have Five of Wands, and this is a different one. You know, fives usually are pretty troublesome, but this one is so dreamy, right? But with the idea of troublesome, I would say, like, you know, there might be other people who are really into this certain path or something, but that's not necessarily for you. It might look charming on the surface. Yeah, authoritarian feeling here when you want to be more in this. You know what? Both of these came up in maybe doorway number 1 as well. I'm getting from this that this is about, maybe at first you think that you're going to be seeking guidance elsewhere, But then when you kind of see how corrupt a lot of it is, because people have their own motives and stuff, that you're like, whoa, whoa, I'm seeing this from a whole new viewpoint, a whole new viewpoint. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to work on my shadow work. I'm going to be more self-sovereign. I'm going to be my guru. And then that's where the potential comes in. Now, it doesn't mean you don't need trusted people to, get feedback. And I do appreciate you being here, but I also understand if this is not the right place for you, right? Because my hope for you, this is my Dharma work. So my hope for you is that this wakes you up to your own sovereignty, to your own divinity, to your own power, right? Because shadow work is all about reclaiming yourself, reclaiming your wholeness, and not outsourcing it to anybody, because it's easy to outsource it, right? It's easy to let someone else, because then if things go wrong, you can be like, well, they went wrong because of that person. But when you take responsibility for it yourself, when you become your own guru, when you become your own guide, when you get yourself really grounded, you have to take responsibility for that. But also, like, the world opens up for you. You see things so differently. Life becomes a level of magic that you didn't even know was possible when you were walking somebody else's path. That's the thing. We like to act like there's like a handful of religions and stuff, but really there's as many spiritual paths as there are people. It's one mountain, and it's like a spiral path up the mountain, and some people are going straight up, and some people are spiraling, and some people are wandering off, There's no specific way. Anyone who says that there has to be a specific way is a person who has some kind of, ego or something that will benefit them. And it sounds like I'm being really mean, but I just say, watch out for charlatans. Watch out for charlatans. You deserve better than to be taken off course for a while because somebody wants to make a little extra money or something, right? Or wants to get you hooked on a certain feeling so that you don't focus on the work, right? So that you focus on returning. And I try my best as a tarot reader to focus on the shadow work aspect so that people don't get stuck in those loops here. But like I said, if it is ever and you need to take a step back, I totally understand. The shadow work is always still there when you're ready. I expect this channel to always be fluctuating because shadow work is something that's really difficult to deal with. So you're going to come and you're going to do the work and you're going to recognize things, and then you're going to need to step back maybe and then come back, and that's okay. Or never come back. Like I said, always welcome here, but the Morrigan wants to remind you to stop doom scrolling. Yeah, I think for me that's like saying, once again, trust your inner guidance more than anything else. The Morrigan is power, the goddesses, triple goddesses of like war, battle. It's interesting because when I wrote this, I was thinking like the Morrigan feels like the opposite of doom scrolling, right? Because she's like outdoors, powerful war. But sometimes the biggest wars with ourselves happen on a small scale, like, oh, well, this person seems convincing, or, this is the 74th divination video I've watched today. Oh, no. And once again, I'm not blaming you. I've been caught in those loops before, like we all have. And, not necessarily tarot loops, but we've all been caught in those loops before. You write your destiny. Shadow work is like the paving stones, right? And you get to choose where you put them down and where they go. If every conversation feels like a maze, stop looking for the cheese. It's a little silly, but you know what? It's so true. And this doesn't just mean with other people, because in this context, it feels more like if you are confused in yourself, you need to take a step back from any situation that confuses you. If you feel like you're going around in circles and stuff, that's coming back to watch out for somebody, watching out for someone. There's definitely a feeling here of if you've been feeling like joining a certain organization, or if you've been feeling really connected to a specific thing, you need to evaluate that and make sure that it's healthy for you. All right. I'm so happy you're here. By the way, this is my Cosmic Jester deck. I started doing sort of trickster energy, sacred fool, Hyoka energy readings using wax divination on Thursday. So you're welcome to check that out if you're into this energy. And I feel like we do so much heavy work here. That's also why I do the silly day in the life of a mystic shorts, because I don't want you to think that like shadow work is just this long, difficult slog. That can be its own trap, right? You got to make sure you're balancing the difficult work with the lighthearted stuff. You've got to remember that like the difficulties of life live right alongside the absurdities of life, right? So take good care of yourself. And I'm so glad you're here. And I will see you next time. Continue the great work, Alchemist.